I am a well, the title is data engineer. Basically means I use Python for uh, data uh, analysis for not really data analysis for moving data from one place to another. Build pipelines with data. I use tools like Airflow, like Spark, and like Python generally for doing this kind of job. So, Kalu, you wanted to say something you do also?
Yeah, I'm basically um, a web developer. No, that's I like to just describe myself as a web developer. So I work with a lot of technologies and languages that make you build web developer, particularly as a back end engineer and then some bit of cloud computing. So this is my day-to-day job is purely about working on back-end web projects. So most of the time I do stuff on Django. I also work on other languages like some stack, like even Java and PHP. So I'm just a hardcore web developer, back-end engineer. So that's what I do. I work with Python. I'm also invested in the Python community. Um, and then I think that's generally what you need to know about me. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we've had a couple of talks today, and from all the talks we've had, I kind of picked up some points that I like to just say one or two things about. And if you also have something, Khalid, that you've noticed that you want to kind of
Yeah.
guide people about from the talks we've had and from the questions we've had. There was a question earlier that I kind of tried to respond to, but I'd like to also just respond to it again now. So if you also have something like that you've seen, you can talk about it while we wait for the questions that we're supposed to get. Testing seemed to be a big topic today from what we saw. And I
Yeah.
remember the first time I heard about testing, I was so reluctant because it felt like after spending all my time to write code, you tell me to write another set of code to test that code. It just didn't make any sense to me because I was still learning then. But
Yeah.
as I started working in my current job and even before now, I try to do it. And the truth is that if you try to do it on your own, you might not really get it unless you are forced to do it in a production environment. You begin to see like the real
Yeah.
value. And I begin
Yeah.
to like, I think you gave a talk earlier. I begin to see what
Yes, I
people say
did.
about if you start doing it, man, you just realize, how come I've not been doing this all the while? So I wanted to say something
Yeah.
about that. Like, I think there is a problem with the way we learn how to code that we are not told that we are testing from the beginning. Because actually, if you write a command line application to print hello world, when you
Yeah.
go to the command line and you type the application's name, you say Python, you now put the application inside, you now
Mm,
press enter, the hello world will show, right? What you just done is
yeah.
testing, right? You
It's
just
testing.
tested the
Yeah.
application to show that it's showing. But when we don't see it from that angle, you could have as well just written an assert statement to show that hello world actually came out
Friends. Yeah.
instead of going to the command line to go and do Python print, you can just write an assert statement below your function and you see that hello world comes out. I think because we're not taught how to program that way, we tend to see testing as a foreign thing later in the future. But whenever
Yeah.
you write a program, you want to pass in some variable to see how it comes out. You're actually testing. And what we're just doing is automating that process and letting it not be something you do manually so that you can repeat it every time without having
Mm.
to do it manually with your hand. That's the way I see testing from.
Yeah, I think because one of the things that drove me to give that talk on testing, I work with a lot of upcoming developers in the community. Okay, being involved in community build, and I see that this is like an area nobody wants to go into. So sometimes when you are telling them write test, it's like, this man's pushing us so hard. Others are writing their own and going, and he's asking us to write tests, and stuff like that. But when we imbibe this as a culture, just like you said, we just find out that later on it becomes so easy for us. And once you learn it, once you start it, you just feel bad. You can't just write the code without writing the test anymore, because you see the importance, you see the significance. But even if you do a project for someone, and you don't wait till the client test the application and gives you error reports now. So this kind of like helps you save a lot of embarrassment along the way and makes your stuff come out more professional. So that's a very important. And I think we can change that culture among ourselves by learning to do things the right way. It has to start from the scratch.
Yeah, that's a that's a good one. I think I see a question on the chat right now. It says, "Good afternoon. I'm an absolute beginner in the world of Python. I don't have any background in coding, but I was still advisable to start from Python since I'm interested in data analysis. Please, can you suggest tips or materials that can help fast track my learning and development process in this area?" So, do you want to respond to that, Carlos? Carlos, since you are very
It says,
helping
interested
people.
in data analysis, please can you suggest tips or materials that can help fast track my. Okay, Faith, I'm glad you have been told to start from Python, and I assume you've started learning Python. One of the things you must master very well if you're going to do data analysis is this Python library called a pandas, and then also NumPy. You need to spend time and master pandas very, very well, because that is what is going to come in very, very handy in data analysis. So while you have started learning Python, the basic syntax, how to write Python codes, so you should pay very close attention to that pandas library, because it's all about data analysis. The NumPy comes in there for array manipulations, because most times data will have to be converted into an array format before you can do any reasonable analysis on it. So I think that's all I can say to that.
Okay, so I would add to you and say that Python is a programming language. Emphasis on the word language. If you're going to learn a new language like Yoruba or Igbo, you are not going to do it in a very short time. You're going to do a lot of practice. If you want to learn, I think you should give yourself very realistic goals and understand what you need to do from the beginning. So you can tell yourself in 1 year time, I want to be here, but right now, in the next 6 months, I want to be this. Now, a path to data analysis for me is you have to start with the fundamentals of Python and programming. So any course or anything that says fundamentals of computer science in Python, you have to have a basic fundamentals of computer science, like structures like loops, like data structures. You have to have those basics out of the way first. So I'd advise you guys book or a course and start with that. When you're done with that, you now go to what Santa talked about, Pandas, which is a library built in Python. You can then learn that. There are books like that. Wes Mitney was just he gave the one of the opening remarks in this session, and he wrote the book on Pandas for data. I mean Python for data analysis. It's a very good book. I have one on my desk right now. I think you read that book, but not until you've actually gone through a basic Python course, because that book will refer to things that if you've not really gone through, at least the book tries to go through. Actually, the first 2 or 3 chapters in the book is trying to go through basic Python course, but it would be nice you do that before you go into the book. Then after that, another thing about data analysis is I would advise um understand SQL. SQL is very it's a lingua franca. That's the way Python is. SQL is one of the lingua francas of data analysis. It's one of the most important you can do to yourself. So that foundation is what I'll suggest. Python basics, then pandas for data analysis, then SQL. By the time you are there, you begin to see what to do next. And I would give yourself a realistic goal of say a year and see how that comes. Another question is I'm particularly concerned about data science. I want data science. I want to do the data science course. So what is the way forward? Talking to you, Psalms.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's like a cliche. Everybody's very interested in data science, and there are a lot of data science courses out there. Okay, virtually all the online learning platform. If you just Google courses on data, you just have to get confused which one to pick. You will see courses on from Udemy. You will see from there's even some tutorial stuff on Cargo. You will see virtually everywhere. So talking about the way forward, you have to realize that first, if you have started learning Python, if you have not started, then start off, because the data science, you need the language to do it. Yeah, some people do that with R too, but generally we're talking about Python here. So you will need to learn a Python language, master it, master most of the necessary libraries that you need, and then you can pick a course. I can't just say pick this one or pick this one or pick this one, but I'm also sure that there are communities around there that you could join that are close to you that will help you, channel your, inquiries to the right corner so that you would know what courses to choose. There are meetups, AI meetups that you could be a part of, and they can give you some grassroots assistance that will help you. So what I would suggest is start learning whatever you can, start from the scratch, Python, and then get involved with a community near you. They will be in a very good position to mentor you and point you to the right direction so that you wouldn't just be existing in isolation. I think that will really be a great way to move forward. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I would just add to that and say, programming, like you said, the language is the most important thing right now, Python, programming, all that stuff. But when it comes to data science, I mean, different from data analysis that were answered before this, I would suggest a few other things. You need to understand the theory of data science, which basically is maths and statistics. Now, you cannot just keep using libraries that and just keep using them. You have to understand the fundamentals of how the algorithms in the library that build the model you're using are working. So part of just learning the thing is understanding that, all right, there's this part of it that is statistics and mathematics. And when you're choosing courses and books you want to do, you want to be thinking about Python for statistics, or you want to be thinking about the math data science. So you have those two parts to come from. And also, do not, if you've been through school already, maybe be done, but if you're going to get into university, I would advise a master's or anything would be good in the field of statistics or maths, because at the end of the day, AI and data science at its core, it's really maths and statistics. Now, Python is just being used to implement algorithms that were developed with maths and statistics. So if you want to really be at that very high performing level in data science and not just be a data analyst, you will be thinking about math and statistics. And it's probably something that would not take you a year, probably something that will take you a year, 2 years. But like I keep saying, the most important thing is set realistic goals, understand where you're going to go, and set a very realistic goal and say, in 2 years' time, this is where I want to be. And keep chipping at it. And in 2 years' time, you would be at least close to where you want to be. Okay, so
Okay.
that's
So
yeah, you can continue, Sam.
yeah. I think it was Manuel Vincent that asked that question. I hope you got that. I just wanted to say something when you mentioned the math and statistics. This is where a lot of people, once they hear that, they begin to I have everything. I didn't know I wouldn't be, because see, like I said when I started, it's like a cliche. Everybody says I'm interested in data science. So what I usually tell people there is you can't have anything so easy. There's some hard work involved. So if you really know, okay, I need this. So what you do is to do wherever you can to make sure that you get it. So if they say mathematics is what you need to learn to be able to do this, then you learn math. They say statistics, you learn. It's not a big deal. You could actually give yourself some time and bend down and grab these things. You can get someone that will give you some mentorship or assistance or whatever. But this is what you want to do with your life. Like this is your life, and this is what you've chosen. There are a million things you could do with your life, and you want to do this one. So I think you should just give it everything you've got, and so that you can actually achieve what you want to do. So that's just what I want to
Yeah,
add there.
and when we say math, we don't really mean like the whole field of math. There is a specific section of math. More specifically what's the name? Yeah, I can't remember the specific. There are specific sections of math that really aligns towards data science. I would always define a data scientist as a mathematician or a statistician who learns how to program. It's different from a software developer, which I would say, yes, you are a programmer. But most times, data scientists are first of all research people, mathematics, chemistry, physics, anybody who has done the level of PhD, who has done a very good amount of research. Now they now learn how to program in Python so that they can do those things which they've done and put it out. But there are different stages and levels to it. That's the truth. While in Nigeria or while at learning, you might see libraries that helps you do things real quick and real well, no problem. But when you are faced with bigger problems in the future, where there are just like no just clear cut solution to them, you then have to fall back to your fundamental math and statistics skills. So it's not really like you have to learn math now, but always know that you start it. But if you want to get to the height of it, you have to at one point it's going to be very solid statistical analysis that we get to the height of it. So the last question I wanted to address before we go was when somebody asked a question earlier and said, I asked, how do you get mentors? Most mentors are very busy. And I try to reply to the person, but I also want to just put it out there how I think it is, how I think people should go about asking people for help. You know, people really should not just come up and tell people with very vague questions. I suggested that you always ask very specific questions. Do your research, do your homework, and then come to who you're asking for help. For example, you want to ask Kalu for help. You cannot just say, I need to learn Django. I don't know how to learn Django and blah, blah, blah. That is a good question, but it's very, very broad. The answer that Kalu will give you, you can get it on YouTube or on Google. So why ask that? Why don't you ask something more? Hey, I did this Django project and I got stuck here. I'm having this problem. What exactly should I do here? Now that is something that would excite him more because you're actually posing him a challenge. At the same time, he wants to help you. He sees that, oh, you've even gone this far. And then even though you've not talked before, he shows interest. I've had somebody who just started talking to me on LinkedIn, and the next day was he posed me a question. And I was just intrigued. I was like, whoa, okay. So I started discussing the question with him. And before you know, we're talking. So I feel that there are ways you come to meet people for help, people that are so-called busy, like said, that will make them get interested in you, just seeing your zeal, and then they want to help you. So I'll suggest that approach when you're trying to talk to anybody. And the truth is that most people want to help. Like, there's one thing about programmers that I've come to realize that programmers are givers. Like, they seem to have a lot of knowledge and they are looking for how to just give it out, give it out. But you have to know how to get them, how to catch them. That's how we have open source, right? People just want to give, go out there and start coding, free for free. So if people can code for free, open source, why can't they give people help for free? So you just have to know how to approach them and when to approach them.
Yeah, I think you just summarized that. It's very important. The truth is also that sometimes what people term as busy might really, yes, people are busy between working your own projects and and trying to also help someone, and being involved in so many things. And sometimes when these questions are not, directed properly, like someone can just come to you and say, "I want you to be my mentor." He just says that. I know. So what do you respond? You say, "Yes, okay, I will."
Yeah, of course, I will.
You
You
get
can't say
that?
no.
But then that's that. So the person actually need to come to you with a specific problem, or something that you really need you to, help them on, and not just to broadly say, "I want you to be my mentor," which you will say yes to, and then weeks pass, and I think that's very important. It's easier to get mentors, people that will help you when you are already doing something on your own, and when you are already putting out a lot of effort. Okay, so you give people the idea that, okay, yeah, I'm working on my own, and I just need help here and there, and then people can just chip in. And also, it's also good to learn to do a lot of groundwork on your own. Don't just say, "Okay, I have a mentor. Okay, so any little thing, I just push it up to him. There, I'm having a problem. Can you help me?" So he helps you. You come back. I applied that your solution, and I think I ran into another problem. Can you help me again? So it gets boring down the line. So you learn to also do some groundwork, and the mentor can just work as an oversight and help you get what you couldn't get on your own. I think that's just that.
All right, thank you very much. I think we're at the end of this session. So, no, if there is no more question, I'll just Khalid, do you have any few words to say to round up what we've done so far?
Okay, the last thing I'm just going to say is, being good at something takes time. Okay, being good at something takes time. So don't, if you some people have been programming 2 3 years and already feel like they have not done anything much. They just want to get to be very good at something, to master something takes time. I've been programming for more than 10 years, okay, and that's just, I'm not counting my days as a student or anything. So it takes a lot of time to master some of these things. So I like to encourage those who are doing it, give it your time. This is day in, day out. Don't get frustrated because you couldn't solve a few problems there and then you try to throw it away. Keep doing it. I think you would definitely achieve your aim, and do whatever you want to do. So that's all I can just say.
Okay, so yeah, same advice that you get from me. I would always encourage that you focus on the fundamentals as much as possible. Understand the theory behind everything you're working on. Don't just jump into, yes, you can jump into the practical to get one or two projects done, but don't always fall back to fundamentals. You hear about the theory of computer science, algorithms and data structures. At the beginning, they might not be good, maybe so useful to you, but as you go on, you would get to know why. Like the talk we're supposed to have during this time was supposed to be big O notations and what they mean. Man, for me, those things were like over my head at one time. But later I realized that okay, without this, you cannot even go far to such certain place. So be ready to read a full book. Another thing I tell people, read a full book. Don't do tutorials haphazardly. Don't depend on a course you did on Coursera. Yes, do a course on Coursera. Do one. After that course, you understand at a high level what programming is, then go and read a book on either Python for computer science or anything. Because what a full book does to you is that it distills down all those high level talks. You do exercises, you do assignments in the books, and then you become a lot stronger. And then a full book usually have chapters that cover different aspects that you might not have thought to cover for yourself. So read a full book is always very important, because if you don't understand the fundamentals, I always compare programming to building a house. You can be a bricklayer and just maybe follow one other bricklayer, and then you learn how to build a house, and then you know how to place all these things. And like somebody say, come and build a house. You can build a bungalow. You can even build maybe a 2 4 bedroom plus story building. But when they now say, all right, come and build a stadium, or come and build a high rising 200-story building, that guy is nowhere to be found, because that, although it's still building a house, but it just takes another level of professionalism, architected. There's so many things about building a stadium that you cannot apply to building a house. So the same thing, I think, where you don't focus on the fundamentals. You can say, oh, let me take WordPress, I build a website, or let me take Django, just do one or two things. I have a website, I'm okay. You just, yeah, you're okay. But if you really want to make Django itself, yeah, you want to do a framework like Django, or you want to create a database, or you want to do something at that level, then you realize that all these things we're talking about, testing, fundamentals, data structures, become very useful. But if we are always consuming, like we're always just taking libraries and pulling them and using them, yeah, no problem, just keep doing that. But when it comes to a point where you want to build React, it's like I want to write something like React, or I want to write something like a database or something, then you realize that, okay, computer science really has, I mean, the theory is really useful. All right. So thank you very much for your time. Sam, thank you for keeping me company and answering all these questions. So I wish you all the best going in your
Thank
learning
you.
and your activities. All right. Bye.
You too. Thank you.